Шановні колеги, ми продовжимо робочі.
Dear colleagues, we continue our working day, and now I give the floor to Presidential Administration spokesman on ATO-related issues, Colonel Andriy Lysenko. Good afternoon, dear colleagues, and now information about the events in the ATO area during the last 24 hours. And firstly, I would like to say that in the result of the intensive military actions and shellings, no Ukrainian serviceman was killed or got wounded, but 2 servicemen of Ukrainian armed forces who served at the frontline area were injured because of the explosive device, and this incident happened near Gorlivka. Losses of the enemy during the last 24 hours. We got the information that in Makeyevka, to hospital number 1, 3 dead bodies and 3 wounded persons were brought, and also to Donetsk Oblast Clinical Hospital named after Kalinin. 4 dead bodies and 3 wounded persons were brought. These were the members of the 1st Army Corps of DPR. In Lugansk area, the enemy violated ceasefire 3 times. It happened in Krymsky and Popasnyansky region. All the provocations were in the second part of the day. And once the militants used RPC. In the Donetsk area, the enemy delivered 2 shellings in Adeyevka production area. Both were for 2 hours, and the fire was delivered from the side of Yasenovata. The enemy used 82mm and 120mm mortars. They launched about 20 mines. In Mariupol area, the hottest area was Novotroitska. There, during the dark hours, the militants delivered mortar shellings. Also, the enemy provocation was observed in Shirokino. On the whole, in Mariupol area, there were 5 enemy shellings, including 3 mortar shellings. Chief Intelligence Department of MOD informs about reinforcement and rotation in the ranks of the frontline divisions of the militants at the bank of Seversk-Donetsk, near Stanitsa-Luganska, and also near Telmanova and Komsomolska. There are engineering works at the positions of the enemy, and also 6 detached motorized regiment of the 2nd Army Corps of LPR. They also delivered joint artillery unit there, and in Lugansk from Krasnodarsk region came 10th Detached Brigade of Specialized Forces of Russian Federation, deployed in Molkino, Krasnodarsky area. In the Kuchayevsk and Bezemenne, sniper groups came. In Luganshina, SBU officers detained LPR members. This person served during July till December 2014. He served in LPR and recruited persons to host militant formation. And in November 2014, he accompanied the mercenaries that came from Russia to the occupied Alchevsk. And the foreigners also were deployed, and they took part in military actions at Debaltseva. Also, SBU detained the militant of LPR in Milova village, that is at the border between Ukraine and Russia, and also special services stopped illegal transportation to the occupied territories. In Kharkiv, police officers detained local resident who sold arms and ammunition that came from ATO area. And in garages, they found an arsenal. They confiscated machine guns, pistols, cartridges, grenades, and mines. And the Ukrainian landing forces continue their training. And yesterday, they started competition between snipers of landing troops, and they had firing exercises in the condition of psychological and physical load. And at the final stage, they will be at positions and they fire at aims, and also they will go to the position, and machine guns and other weapons will be used. If you have some questions, please ask. Thank you, Colonel. Do you have questions? Please introduce yourself first. Lysenko Semen, Chas Ruchu newspaper.
I just want to find out what this detained person was doing on our territory. The one who in 2014 was recruiting people into the band which is now called Prizrak, the Ghost. He was detained on our territory. What was he doing here? Was he here illegally? People who in 2014-15 were part of illegal armed groups are divided now into two categories who get to the territory of Ukraine. The first category are those who are using this program, who are part of the program of the Security Service of Ukraine, come back home. That is the person who recognizes that he's guilty, who surrendered to our security service, special forces. They give all the information and they agree to cooperate. And second category are people who got disappointed in the ideas of Novorossiya, who have some special task maybe, and they get to the territory of Ukraine. And almost every day our special forces, police, armed forces, they have certain intelligence data that we get. We stop such people, we detain them, and then we take evidence from them. And that is how they get to the territory of Ukraine. Very often they go back to where they used to live or where their relatives live, and they're trying to hide from law enforcement bodies. And one more brief question. I have mentioned several times already that I know some people who fought from the first day as volunteers in Donbass. And they told the zone of Donetsk and Lugansk regions, they have plenty of penitentiary institutions. And all these institutions which are on the territory of so-called DPI and LPR, those people were all released. And they were released by DPR or LPR. They get to our side and they don't want to fight. What happens to them? Some people surrendered. They showed these certificates that they were released from detention facilities. But then what happens to them? These are our citizens. These people were sentenced to a certain term. The systemic work is about the following. Those people who were staying in the detention facilities at the occupied territories, there is such a practice. If they are released, they come to the territory of Ukraine, which is controlled by Ukraine. They report to law enforcement bodies, and after the exchange of information, they are sent to stay to other detention facility, but the person can later be released and will not be in the system of search. The person will not be violating any law. Such system is working. There are people who got the chance to be released on the territory which is occupied. Part of them, a smaller part, takes weapons in their arms, but then they are trying to go to the territory of Russian Federation. And they're trying to settle there. And there's information that people who were staying at such detention facilities on the territory of Russian Federation on condition that they will be fighting against Ukrainian authorities on the territory of Donetsk-Lugansk regions, they are promised that they will be released after they participate in warfare. There is such an information. We're still checking it. According to our intelligence data, we do have that there are such people. They confirmed that they were staying at detention facilities in Rostovsky region and Krasnodarsky Krai, which is closest to the zone of conflict. They agreed to such conditions. They either surrender or they move to the other side. Those people who have no motive to continue their service in the band, they are trying to come out of the colony, of the detention facility, and then come out of the zone of conflict. They are not the main part of these army corps, the first and the second one that are on the territory of Donbass. Thank you, Colonel. This is the end of the press conference. Thank you. Esteemed colleagues, the next briefing of the Special Monitoring Mission of OSCE is at 4:30.